Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I'd like to talk to you about your competitive advantage in the merchant services industry. Now, whether you are an individual sales rep or whether you have your own processing company, I want to talk a little bit about your competitive advantage because I really find it interesting as I talk to agents and even as I talk to other executives and people in the industry. It's so interesting to me how far off we can get on the competitive advantage because we really fail to see the obvious. And let me explain what I mean by that. When I say, what is your competitive advantage in merchant services industry, most people immediately, their mind is drawn towards things like technology, things like strategy. Those are the kind of words that come to their mind. We offer this incredible, credit card machine. Or our competitive advantage is our marketing strategy that's just amazing. And all those things. And what I found more and more in this industry is that when we talk about competitive advantage, we have to understand that competitive advantage means what are you doing that your competitors are not doing? And how significant is the gap or the difference between those two? And so, as simple and basic as it sounds, let me give you a couple thoughts on your competitive advantage in this industry and talk about what our company is trying to do to create our own competitive advantage. Number one, whether you're an agent or whether you are, you have a team of agents, let me present you with the biggest competitive advantage you could have. And again, the definition I'm talking about is your competitive advantage being something you do that is totally different and way above and beyond what your competitors are doing. The biggest competitive advantage you could have is to get out in the field and go prospecting every single day. Or if you have a team of agents, get those agents out in the field 4 hours every single day prospecting. Now you say, well, that's boring. That's practical. That's not a competitive advantage. Yeah, but how many other agents are doing it? It is a competitive advantage. In fact, I personally believe it is the largest competitive advantage that your team could have is to get your agents out in the field for 4 hours a day to go prospecting. And the reason why that's the biggest competitive advantage is because no one else does it. Okay? Now you say, well, we're gonna prospect over the phone. Here's my problem with prospecting over the phone. Everybody is doing it. So it's not a competitive advantage. I liked doing it 3 or 4 years ago, but now it's like everybody is like calling. So you're not setting yourself apart by doing, telephone prospecting. But if you go out there in the field, face to face with the customer, walk into the business, present yourself as a local provider, a local business owner offering credit card processing, it's a huge competitive advantage because nobody else is doing it. Even agents on my own team that I talked to, I was just talking to an agent a little bit ago, and he asked me, he said, when you were out in the field prospecting, because I've mentioned before that prospecting was never like my favorite thing to do. There were definitely days I enjoyed it, but as a general rule, walking into a business is not an enjoyable thing when you're, walking in for the first time and going to meet the owner. Once you talk to the owner, it can be a lot of fun. But his question was, how did you get past that? And I said, well, one of the main things that got me through that, period of time for a year or so where I was out in the field at least 4 to 6 hours every single day, 5 days a week prospecting was that it was so difficult for me to do it that I knew nobody else was doing it in my market because it was too difficult. No other agents were doing it. Same thing on my sales team. When you look at our top sales agents, you say, well, what are they doing? Do they have this amazing pitch? Are they offering a different technology than all the other agents? What's their strategy that's just blowing away the competition? It's none of that. You know what they do? They get up every morning and they go to work and they go out in the field and they prospect for 3, 4, 5 hours a day and they are killing it. They're killing their competitors. They're stealing accounts left and right. They're making 20 sales a month. How? Because of their competitive advantage. Their competitive advantage is that they actually get out in the field and go prospecting. So there's number one. Number two, another competitive advantage you could have is provide training and accountability to your sales team. Or if you're an agent, understand what you're doing, get trained, okay? You can do that very simply. If you're an independent agent, go to my website, ccsalespro.com, and click on sales training. You can register for free to go through our sales training program. We're coming out with a new program here in a few weeks called Understanding Merchant Services, where we're going to really get into some nitty-gritty details. If you have your own team and you say, well, I don't want you to try to recruit my team, so I can't send them to your website, that's fine. I have a different website called CC Sales Program, ccsalesprogram.com. And if you have a team of agents, you can purchase monthly access to that website, and you can get all my same courses, but they don't have any of the recruiting stuff, and you get all the workbooks and all that stuff. So, whatever it might be, offer training. Again, you think, well, what's that? That's so practical. That's not a competitive advantage. It's a competitive advantage because honestly, if you're watching this video and you're another processor, okay, the only reason that I'm in business is because other processing companies don't provide training. That's the only reason I'm in business. When I got into this business, doing the recruiting, doing the training, I didn't invest a penny. I didn't spend any money on marketing. The only reason that I'm in business is because there are so many agents from other processing companies that don't have any training that they're coming to me for training, and then I'm recruiting them because no one else is offering training. So when you're offering training, coaching, one-on-one, expectations, and accountability. I just had a video I made for my team leaders a couple days ago talking about setting expectations and then providing accountability. And the truth is, nobody's doing that in the industry. It's like we're going to recruit 50 agents and we're going to see what happens. And you're not providing expectations that are clear, that are precise action steps you want people to take, and you're not providing any accountability. Or if you're an agent, you don't have any expectations and you don't have any accountability. And so my advice would be, if you want a competitive advantage, either get on our team and get some expectations and some accountability, or if you're a processing company or a manager of your own team, provide that to your team. That is a huge competitive advantage because, again, it seems like, well, that's just the easiest, most practical thing. But again, nobody else is doing it. So the first two, I'm going to give you three competitive, actually I'm going to give you four, but three main competitive advantages. Number one, actually get out in the field as an agent 4 hours a day and prospect. It's a competitive advantage because nobody else is doing it. And you'll know that you're going to be succeeding because it's very difficult. It's not easy. And you know that nobody else is doing it. Number two, make sure as an agent you know what you're doing. Make sure you have some accountability. Make sure you have some expectations in place for yourself. If you are a team leader, someone that's managing your own team, make sure your team has training. Make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure that they have accountability expectations, because again, that's a competitive advantage because nobody else is doing it. So by definition, it becomes a competitive advantage. Finally, number three, use a CRM database to track your sales pipeline, okay? And have an efficient system of organization. Now, I'm not talking about saying, well, we're going to provide a CRM database to all of our agents. That's not a competitive advantage, okay? A competitive advantage is actually using a CRM database to manage your agents. We use Podio. It's a great system. We love it. If you're on our team and you want to use Podio, it's free to anybody that's on our team. And we have it set up specifically for how we work through the sales process. And so our agents log in there. We have team leaders and managers that are in those workspaces, and the agent can tag one of the managers, one of the sales agents in a comment. They can put a lead in and then make a comment and tag us and say, hey, I got a question about this, and we'll go in there and answer that question for them. So actually using a CRM database to manage the sales pipeline and to help provide those expectations and that accountability is a huge competitive advantage. Now, I've given you three competitive advantages today, and I would be willing to bet that 90% of the people watching this video are not going to do those three things. And that is why they're a competitive advantage. If you're watching this video and you're an independent agent, okay, are you actually going to get out in the field and walk into businesses for 4 hours every day, 5 days a week, next week? You're probably not. And I'm glad that you're not, because all of my agents are. And that is our competitive advantage. If you want to be on a team that has a competitive advantage, get on our team and we will show you how to put an organizational system together so that you actually get out in the field 4 hours every day, 5 days a week. It's that simple. If you want to sell a bunch of sales, make a lot of money in this industry, it's not complicated. Your competitive advantage isn't, you don't need to read a strategy book to have a competitive advantage. You just have to get up in the morning and go to work. Number 2, make sure you know what you're doing. Be trained, be ready to go, understand what you're doing. Have expectations, have accountability. That's a competitive advantage. And then number 3, have a CRM database to track your sales. Now, one final one I'm going to throw out there, a competitive advantage that is a little more on the technology side. One thing that has become a necessity is the ability to offer a touchscreen point of sale system. Okay. Now there's a lot of different options out there. Harbor Touch has a pretty good program with free terminal placement, but they've been having some issues where their terminals are shipping out 8 weeks behind. You make a sale, they're shipping out 8 weeks behind. Plus, a lot of merchants are upset once they get locked in because they have a 5-year contract for these really high rates. And so there's a lot of issues with their program. So we have a program that we've created on selling the Hiapost touchscreen point of sale systems. It's a great program. You can go to ccsalespro.com/Hiapost, ccsalespro.com/HIOPOS to get a free information packet. You make $650 in upfront commission plus the upfront commission you make on the credit card processing sales. And that's going to give you a system that's actually going to be a competitive advantage. That's a real competitive advantage of having better technology than your competitors. And so there's an area where most companies out there that have these tablet point of sale systems or free point of sale systems, they take away a lot of the competitive advantage because the support is terrible, or they charge for the support, or they're locking them into contracts. And so they put so many barriers and fences up that it really negates the competitive advantage. Our system is very simple. We sell our programs on a 4-year lease. And it's really simple. We have different financing alternatives to get different merchants approved for the financing. You can sell it to any merchant, doesn't matter how much volume they do. It's a simple sale. You make $650. We provide all the tech support for free unlimited tech support for the life of the account. And so it's really an amazing program. It's very simple. That's what we were going for. Because again, when I look at competitive advantage, guys, I'm not looking at what's the latest technology, what's the next big thing that I can do. I'm looking more at procedures. I'm looking more at character, discipline, leveraging technology. What are the things we can do to make it simple? What are the things we can do to get our agents out in the field more? What can I do to help my agents understand the industry better? What's a point of sale system reseller program that I can roll out that's going to be simpler than everybody else's out there? I'm looking for competitive advantages like simple, like training, like hard work. Those are the kind of competitive advantages that I want to get in my business. If you have the same kind of feeling about it, give me a call. Let's talk about the industry, and possibly you could join our team and you might fit in really well with our culture. My name is James Shepard. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great week.